Inspiration sparks and raises our vibrations, encouraging all of us to live our best lives. It is my pleasure to welcome our speaker for this evening, Jen Rosson. Jen is an ordained minister and endeavors to be an inspiration to those she serves. She is the Vice President of SCOA and the Director of the Spiritual Center. A warm harmony welcome to Jen.
Thank you, Darren. Today's reading is from the book A Life at Work, published by Broadway Books in 2008 and written by Thomas Moore. Moore is a former monk, a psychotherapist. He holds a PhD in religion from Syracuse University. And he's a prolific author of many popular books on spirituality. He writes the following. This book is about the search for a life work, not just a job, but an activity or group of activities that gives you a sense of meaning and purpose. It's a book about the spirit and soul of work, and it will provide you with ideas for hearing the call and doing what you were born to do. Finding your life work is inseparable from maturing as a person and finding your place in society.
Where do you want my fried chicken tenders?
To mature as a person,
611.
you have to take considerable time sorting through, taking to heart, and resolving the mistakes and failures that have marked your progress. You have to refine the raw material of your emotions and jagged relationships, learning better how to engage the world effectively. You have to unleash your creativity in realistic ways, grounding your idealism and ambitions in real-world contexts. You need a spiritual vision, a philosophy of life, and a deep and evolving sense of values. You need close relationships, participation in community, and openness to social need. With these personal qualities in place, you will glimpse the nature of your life work step by step, and after a long while, will get a sense of its arc. Then you can help others find their way. You can fashion a rich, multifaceted life that doesn't feel fragmented or broken. Because of your openness to the many calls you have heard and felt, whatever your career may have been, you can become a healer for others. You have gone down into the rich humus of human existence with your open-hearted choices and your bittersweet struggles. And out of that initiation, you can say the words and embody the vision that will heal others. In healing others, you will have found yet another calling and further complications and deeper rewards. Life is rich, and you will taste that richness when you stay close to the dynamic that is your life's work. Well, happy Sunday, everybody. It's good to see you all. I hope everyone is staying warm and healthy with the crazy weather and all the various germs that seem to be everywhere this winter. The convoluted path to my subject today kind of started with a germ of an idea, pardon the pun, and a remembered quote from a man who was passionate about germs, of all things. Louis Pasteur was a French chemist, a pharmacist, a microbiologist, celebrated for his many discoveries in his fields of study, leading him to be known as the father of bacteriology and the father of microbiology. He's also credited with being one of the discoverers of the germ theory of disease, a groundbreaking idea in the 1800s that certain diseases are caused by microorganisms or germs. Bearing that in mind, it's interesting to note that Louis Pasteur is quoted as saying, "It is not the germs we need to worry about. It is our inner terrain. Here was a scientist making the observation that our thoughts, our emotions, even our beliefs play significant roles in our physical health. I would hazard a guess and say that most of us probably agree that a positive state of mind has a vital impact on the manifestation of our physical health and well-being. That's just not a personal opinion, but one supported by many scientific studies over the years. So I guess the question becomes, what are the components of a positive mental outlook that has this capacity to affect not only our inner sense of contentment, but also our physical health? One of the things that has been on my mind a lot lately is the expression of shared concern and commitment that many of us seem to have in common. A communal outlook that tries to make sense of the craziness that surrounds us and tries to overwhelm us on this earth plane. I think we all share the desire to know that we do have friendly company walking down this path with us, that we're not always surrounded by assassins. It may just seem that way. But, fellow travelers, we don't fly without a parachute on this adventure. We have an innate ability to make conscious decisions and take thoughtful actions that reflect both who we are and the makeup of our inner landscape. Another component we have to acknowledge is the realization that no matter how difficult the situation may seem, someone somewhere is most likely worse off than we are, which means that there are those that we can help. And also that there are those who are able to help pick us up when we need assistance, to give us that gentle push to get back in the game. This understanding brings us right back to the idea of shared interests and concerns and our dedication to their fulfillment through acts of service to one another. All of these varied yet related thoughts led me down a path to the conclusion that these ideas or ideals, perhaps best described as values, are the components that form this community of like-minded thinkers. They are the core factors encompassing elements like character and integrity, and standards that dictate our actions as well as our own individual mental outlook on life. Value and values are interesting words. When we speak of value, it's usually in reference to the importance or the worth of something, whether tangible like monetarily or intangible like morals and ethics. The plural values is typically used to describe a set of specific rules of the road for a person or a body of people, like our own organization, SCOA. These are the standards of behavior that we as individuals and organizations like SCOA strive to live by. There are, of course, many commercially oriented enterprises that use specific standards to conduct business that are similar in purpose, but that's not what we're focusing on here. The ones we're concerned with today are the personal and spiritual guidelines by which we hold ourselves and those in our community accountable. As a spiritual organization, SCOA formulated a set of values that we use to lead us in making decisions and directing our course. We post it in the chat every Sunday, and it has a permanent place on our website because this list is important. It identifies the ideals we hold ourselves answerable to as the caretakers of this institution and as individual spiritual seekers. This set of values is not all inclusive, but it does constitute a foundation that can be followed to maintain a positive intention for both ourselves and all of those that we encounter, acting as way markers along the journey, guiding us towards the shared goals of awakening and enlightenment. These sacred values are the vital elements of our core sacred tenets. There is one supreme life source. Call it God, divine source, Allah, cosmic consciousness, great spirit, any of the other multitudes of terms that refer to the originator of existence. This creator's presence is expressed through the natural laws that order this world and the next. The law of love is the ultimate expression of positive intention toward ourselves and one another. The law of continuity is demonstrated through evidential mediumship, validating the reality of our eternal nature. We are our own saviors. There's no get out of jail free card. We are personally responsible for our actions. Consequently, spiritual growth is not limited to this physical world, but continues throughout all phases of the eternal timeline. We join with all the mystical traditions throughout history that have shared and advised some form of what is commonly referred to as the Golden Rule. The concept of treating one another in a manner in which you yourself would prefer to be treated. And finally, acknowledging that no list is ever the final version, as all of these concepts and goals evolve as our spiritual growth and understanding continues. The one thing that is an absolute in this physical plane of existence is change. Change comes in many forms. Some are positive in nature. Some changes are definitely negative. Sometimes it's welcome, sometimes not so much. Our challenge is to adapt to the inevitable changes without sacrificing our core sacred values that define who we are. To face the naysayers head on, refusing to compromise our convictions. Remember Louis Pasteur's warning about our inner terrain. It's not the outside that determines the inside. It's your inner self that draws a line in the sand and says, no more. That doesn't mesh with what I know to be true. For any of us, our best defense against the infection of our germy world is our acceptance of personal responsibility for maintaining our own standards, keeping our values at the forefront and cultivating that positive mindset, even in the face of adversity. This is where the rubber meets the road, as the saying goes. No matter what, no one controls what goes on between our own two ears. We are solely liable for our thoughts, actions, and deeds. Values are the basis for making those determinations, ideally leading us in an upward and onward direction. Mahatma Gandhi known as an Indian lawyer, politician, social activist, writer. He was an excellent example of someone who stood by his values in the face of adversity, leading to the independence of his country from British rule. And tragically, his life ended in a politically and religiously motivated assassination. I'd like to close today with a well-known quote from Gandhi, highlighting his own view of our inner terrain. He said, "Keep your thoughts positive because your thoughts become words. Keep your words positive because your words become your behavior. Keep your behavior positive because your behavior become your habits. Keep your habits positive because your habits become your values. Keep your values positive because your values become your destiny." Wise, wise man. Thank you all for allowing me to serve Spiritual Centers of America's Harmony Harbor today. God bless all.